What's going on, guys? My name is RagingRaptor and welcome to a new video. In today's installation I really want to talk about the E-100. Is it really as bad as everybody makes it out to be? And well, to have a little thought about this tank and actually knowing what I want to talk about, I played around 12 games in the last 2 days in the E-100 to just try to understand, well, how is the tank really now? Is it good? Is it bad? And what could wargaming do better with the tank? What could wargaming buff on this tank? And lastly, obviously, what could be the implications of the sandbox server on the tank? Please don't forget that at the moment on the sandbox server, wargaming is testing to make premium rounds have the same damage, same penetration as they are right now, but want to introduce AP shots or standard ammunition, which is much stronger. So for example, if I'm not entirely mistaken, the E-100 would had around 950 alpha. Please don't count me on that, I'm not entirely sure, but it was around 950 if I am not wrong. But again, I could be. My memory was a little bit lackluster from back then. So yeah, now we are on. I played some games, as already said, in the E-100, and the first thing, and I think the biggest, the most pressing issue with the E-100 is how bad the turret is. If you are playing against same tier opponents, if you're playing against low tiered opponents, you would think that the turret isn't bad. But the issue is that more and more tier 10 got more competitive. What I mean with being more competitive is that many people decided to start to shoot premium rounds. This game here is one of the rare exceptions where the enemies decided not to shoot a lot of premium rounds. This is also why it went really well. I had a different video replay where I personally did 7.6k damage, but I shot a lot of premium rounds there and was like, you know what, I kind of want to show what he can do without using premium rounds in this tank. Hence why I took this game to explain my cause. But yeah, as soon as the enemy decides to shoot premium rounds at you or your turret, you are in for a bad time. Because the biggest and the most frustrating thing about the E-100 when I was playing those 12 games is how poor the protection of the turret is when it comes to premium rounds. It's like, I personally bounce a lot with premium rounds on the Type 5 heavy turret. But the Type 5 heavy turret has just this amazing smallish face frontally, plus it has the cheeks which are even thicker, which make shots bounce more. By the way, before you ask how I penetrated the IS-7, I was able to hit the roof of the IS-7 and I think it's around 40 millimeters thick or 50, I don't know. And we have no issue whatsoever to penetrate it because of overmatch mechanics, which is a great thing for the E-100. That's like one of the biggest pluses of this tank. It's a big plus, like the Swiss flag. Ha! Jokes aside. Well, here you can see one of the other big problems I personally hate about the E-100. I was lucky enough that this IS-7 was standing in a position which allowed me to return fire. But, and this is something which works very well with the mouse, to be honest, but very badly or poorly with the E-100. You can use your turret on the mouse to bait shots. On the E-100, it's not really the case because it's much weaker, because it's much flatter, like an anime girl. Excuse me, some Japanese girls, obviously. Jokes aside. And this is also why, for example, the IS-7 had no real issues penetrating us underneath the gun, even though he was standing below us, meaning that he had to even penetrate more armor because, well, we have an angle like this, and because he's standing below, the angle is even worse to penetrate. I know for the mouse this is a different story because you have those rounded cheeks, meaning that as soon as you hit those cheeks in a perpendicular angle, well, it's pretty easy to penetrate those. For the E-100, well, you have a more uniform face, meaning it's a little bit easier. Here I try once again to make the shot onto the roof section of the IS-7, but it sadly didn't work. And again, back to what I wanted to say, usually the enemies are quicker to reload than you are. Go figure, you have 15.82 seconds reload time, which is totally understandable because you have a 750 alpha gun, which is the highest alpha for a tier 10 heavy tank in the game. It's paired with the 60 TP. But this also leads to the issue that most enemies basically reload faster than you do, and they can prepare to shoot at you. And in most cases, they don't really, even if you try to bait the enemy with your turret, even if you angle like the best possible way, if you angle the best possible way, still the enemy has around a 50-50 chance of penetrating you with premium rounds. And this is kind of a bad feeling if you think about it. You do your best, like you generally work the best way, and you still don't really have a 50-50 chance of the enemy having to penetrate you. Here we got lucky enough that the 260 was not able to penetrate us. Because we are standing above him, we can shoot down with AP rounds, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. He hit our lower plate because I didn't went back far enough, but I personally say it's a fair trade. 750 for 480. But now I really want to show you what I mean with even though if you perfectly angle your E-100 turret. Here we have an E-100 on tanks.gg, and we are using a 340mm HE heat pen from the 277. First things first, if you aim down low here, yeah, you have around a 100% chance of penetrating. Those are those spots over here, because you can see they are angled, so it's like no effective armor whatsoever. But now we can maybe make it a little bit more efficient. Here we have a 44% chance, here a 55%, here 46. So we have to we at least have around a 50-50 chance to penetrating depending where the enemy is shooting. Now, when we look at the mouse turret, again, same gun, same heat, it looks much better. Here we have a 40% chance, and here we have a 31% chance. Only down low, which is something I personally would never shoot at. That's just something I learned now, to be honest. You have a very good chance of penetrating, very good in the sense of 50%. So sometimes it's actually much more convenient to shoot at the mouse side turret here, down here, than to try to go for the cheeks, depending how the mouse is angling its turret. But again, this is roughly the best possible angling you can do with the mouse. And when you try to do the best possible angling with the E-100, you can see just from the colors, there are so much more yellow than red. And this just makes it very frustrating to play the E-100 because most people are going to shoot gold ammunition anyway. And bear in mind, in contrast to the mouse, the E-100 actually has a valid weak spot, and this is the view port up top, which is 150mm thick, and it's actually very easy to penetrate. Sure, it's rather hard to hit here and there because, well, the tank sometimes is standing above you, plus don't forget the E-100 is a pretty tall vehicle. But in the end, this viewport up here is a weak spot, and when you compare it to the mouse, you can see the mouse doesn't have any cupola-like weak spot. So yeah, this is like one of the bigger issues. So how could we change that? Please don't forget, again, Wargaming wants to introduce the sandbox server changes to the live server, meaning that AP guns do more damage than, AP rounds do, or standard rounds do more damage than special rounds. This also means that tanks with good armor will get stronger. And this is also why I personally don't understand why Wargaming is not going to nerf a 430U, but this is a story which I'm going to quickly have a look at later in this video. I do think that with the ammo rebalancing, the E-100 might get stronger, because it has this massive 950 alpha gun, most likely, this still very decent turret armor against standard rounds with a weak spot. But as soon as people are shooting premium rounds once again, you are just sitting there and like, okay, here we go again. So what could Wargaming do? Like again, they promised us a rework of the E-100 line, and I personally think from what I was reading on Wikipedia and some other references, but again I didn't do too deep of referencing, they could give the E-100 the mouse turret and make it a Tiger mouse tank. there were some drafts, and I think this was the basic idea of the E-100. As far as I know, this turret is a wargaming fabrication. It's not what was planned for the E-100. So the mouse turret would be the most historical thing. But then again, don't forget, the only thing historical about the E-100 was the hull, which was built and then was shipped to, to Great Britain. Here we got lucky enough, because as you can see, we were standing in a slightly elevation. So our angles in the lower plate were better, as were our angles on the upper plate. However, the IS-7 was really unlucky because it just hit on the seam over here, which made it count for the upper plate armor. So now we have no issues whatsoever to just penetrate him through the upper front plate. And yes, I have to say, Wargaming did a decent job giving the standard rounds a little bit more penetration. I think it was around 10 more, and it's great. Like, this is a nice little buff. But still, the main point is, I personally would like to see if Wargaming could test the E-100 with a mouse turret and see how it goes. I totally understand that some people might now say, but Raging, then you just have a better mouse. Don't forget, you have those side skirts. However, I do want to point out the mouse has like 185 millimeters of flat armor, which is still very, very strong. And down here we have an additional 140 millimeters of armor. Meanwhile, the E-100 only has 120 millimeters armor and 120 all around its side armor. Yes, the side skirts are thicker. They are 60 millimeters thick compared to the mouse, which is 185 up here, and down here, well, down here it's a lot more. As you can see, 105 plus 50 millimeters of spaced armor. Here, by the way, I made a tiny mistake. I should have gone for the cupola, just so you know. But you are able, as you can see with this green indicated, you are able to penetrate the E-100 or Jack Pants E-100's roof, engine deck or engine roof. It's 40 millimeters thick, you have a 150 millimeter gun, it's overmatched, you can easily penetrate it because of that overmatch. Another thing which I was thinking might be an idea, well, Wargaming could just add some armor, period. Just make the number instead of 250, 260 millimeters. They could just do that. What they could also do, which would make this tank look more interesting and maybe even a little bit more realistic, add some tracker links. However, this could probably obscure the sights, the rangefinders, so might not be a good idea. Plus, still don't forget, like, the E-100 is probably like, I don't know, 10 meters tall. So if you have track links up here, how do you get them down if you need them, you know, if you just want to think about it. The Jack Pants E-100 did want to go for us, but he was like, oh no, the E-100 is probably reloaded and so on, and he got shot up by the 183, which I didn't show there. So now I just aimed for the cupola and bam, finito. Anyway, back to the game. It looks really good. 4.9k damage. I'm very happy with this. 5.5k blocked, and we are 1700 spot damage. So definitely a very, very good game when it comes to gun mark percentage. You see I'm already at 88%, so I did get my second gun mark. I do have to work for the third now, but most likely for the third I have to shoot a lot more heat rounds than I'm doing right now. Because again, this is something which I just kind of find sad. It's not a big problem for me personally, because I have the credits. I personally can spam gold ammunition or premium rounds in the E-100 at the given time. And I will most likely do that when I want to go for the third gun mark, because 15.8 seconds reload time is a long time. You want to be consistent. You want to pen every single shot you do. So you will win, obviously, or you can get the maximum out of your gun mark. And well, this is one of the biggest problems right now. Anyway, you might see I reloaded HE rounds right now. That's because I knew that the Progetto was actually very low on HP, because I saw it earlier, and the F3s. Let's be honest. Yes, I know the game is not yet won, but I'm a damage whore. That's what Unicums do, or wannabe Unicums. So the F3 wasn't spotted yet. And this is like, if I pen him, it's a free 1000 damage. And I should be able to penetrate the Progetto sidely. And look at that, he's driving towards us and probably doesn't know we are here. So now we are just making a tiny wait. And I kind of missed and hit the side skirts. luckily enough, he bounces 2 shots, and now we are still able to kill him. But he's like, no, I can't push forward, and I see... By the way, guys, if you play artillery, first of all, fuck you. But second, if you're playing artillery and use the T button, then you are a good artillery player, and I appreciate you. Because, look, right now I know that artillery is going for him, and I can relax. I'm not like, damn it, what can I do, what should I do, what should I do? It's easy because I know the artillery was aiming at him, so Bunyo, very well done, good job, good dude, thumbs up for you, even though you play artillery. But yeah, what can we settle on? I do think that the E-100 will get stronger with the ammo rebalancing, so I can understand for this particular tank and this particular line that Wargaming doesn't want to change it yet. However, there is another tank which is really not making me happy. Make a guess, write it in the comment section below. You have 3, 2, 1, go figure. It's the best it's the best heavy tank in the whole game. It's the 430U. Meanwhile, we didn't got anything out of the game anymore, which is a little bit of a pity, but... Ace Tanker, it was the second gun mark. We even got the steel ball, 5,347 damage, 1,794 spotted, and we were top in damage, plus in both teams. That's a cool thing. Kudos also to the Gorilla, which is almost 5k on this map, which is not really suited for sniping. 14, 12, and 9, HG and AP only, and it was a really good game, 6.2k damage blocked, which is amazing. We even blocked some AP rounds, premium rounds, which is great. Back to the tank, you already saw it. Again, 277, same rounds. If you look frontally at it, you can see there is a little bit of green and there's a little bit of yellow, but you can see most weak spots are around 55 to maybe even 60% rate. But don't forget, this is a medium tank which drives around the battlefield at 50 kph. But meanwhile, the E-100 is maximum of 30, and yeah, you can see the whole turret is yellow, and the 430U is like Russia bazooka blядь, and yeah, same goes for the mouse. The mouse frontally is actually very green, and zuka blядь. As long as you're playing very defensively and even use your 5 degrees of gun depression, the 430U has the best tier 10 turret in the game, let's be honest. 300mm frontally. You have to be very careful to hit here and not hit the gun. The cupolas are basically out of order because you have to hit this tiny thing here, and those ones are too small anyway, so yeah. This tank over here, with the proposed changes for 1.6 for the sandbox server, this tank should get a nerf because you have a tank which is already strong, and we get a patch which promotes good armor, making it even stronger. This is a tank which basically the cupola are off limits as long as you're not shooting premium rounds. So it basically on the turret has no weak spot, but it drives 50 kph, while a tank without weak spot and it's the mouse drives 20 kph. Yeah. I personally think Wargaming could easily change the E-100 as long as they keep this weak spot up here to make it still fair and balanced. If they give the mouse turret, then we might have to say, okay, maybe we have to give in a little bit of DPM. Still, the DPM is not that great, 2300. It's better than what the mouse has, and well, fuck's sake. Yeah. Anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for your attention. And I hope you enjoyed today's video. If so, thumbs it up. If you didn't, thumbs it down. Give me some feedback. And if you're new to the channel and want to see more of such analyses of things, then, well, yeah, feel free to stay. I am always happy to see new customers. Excuse me, no, new subs. And as always, thank you so much, and I'll talk to you all later.